Have you ever snapped at someone, then wondered why your reaction felt so much bigger than the moment? Maybe their words were ordinary, but something inside you heard an older, sharper message. You were not reacting only to the person standing in front of you. You were reacting to a version of them frozen somewhere in your memory. Your father may have aged, yet his old voice can still sound severe. Your friend may have changed, while one betrayal still shapes everything you expect. An ex can leave your life, yet still enter every new relationship. People keep changing outside you, while memory can hold them perfectly still. Those frozen versions reappear inside arguments, choices, fears, and moments of hesitation. And the person frozen longest in your mind may not be someone else. It may be you. A grown man returns to the house where most of his childhood still seems to live. He sits across from his father, with two quiet cups of tea between them. His father asks one simple question. How has work been lately? Before he can think, his shoulders tighten, his hand closes, and his breathing shortens. The question is small, but old sentences immediately begin gathering around it. He no longer sees only an older man with a softer, uncertain face. He feels 16 again, waiting to hear that he has disappointed someone important. So he answers defensively, fighting an accusation that was never actually spoken. His father looks confused because he cannot see the conversation happening inside his son. Two adults sit at the table, but an older argument has quietly entered the room. The mind rarely treats a situation as if nothing similar has ever happened before. It compares voices, expressions, pauses, and gestures with patterns stored from earlier experiences. If a certain tone once preceded criticism, a similar tone can trigger tension today. If silence once meant abandonment, an unanswered message can feel more dangerous than it is. If a particular look once brought shame, a neutral glance may feel like judgment. This does not automatically mean someone has a disorder or that their feelings are irrational. Learning from the past is one of the ways the mind tries to protect us. The problem begins when the danger changes, but the internal alarm does not. Then we navigate a rebuilt city with a map drawn many years ago, and we mistake outdated information for a complete description of the person before us. People often change gradually, while our mental picture of them changes much more slowly. Ordinary moments fade, but emotional injuries are more likely to remain sharp and detailed. One painful scene can become the profile picture for an entire human being. Every new action is then interpreted through that single image from the past. A friend who once lied may be doubted even while telling the truth. Someone once careless may learn to care, yet every kind gesture can look calculated. Someone once controlling may speak gently, while your body still prepares to be trapped. Sometimes that caution is accurate because the old behavior is still continuing. But when present evidence is different, the old picture can hide the real person. The problem is not remembering. The problem is letting memory become the only evidence. Yet not every frozen image is frightening. Some are beautiful enough to keep us trapped for years. The mind can preserve someone at the moment they made us feel most loved. That version may survive long after the relationship itself becomes cold or distant. We may keep waiting for a partner to become who they were at the beginning. One tender moment can feel like proof that the old person is still there. We start loving their potential more than the way they consistently treat us now. A relationship can end emotionally long before either person officially walks away. We grieve not only who they are, but who we kept expecting them to become again. An old friend may remain the one who understands me, despite years of distance. Shared history can preserve closeness in memory without preserving closeness in the present. Every relationship brings two people into the room, but also two invisible histories. One person may fear silence because someone once disappeared without explaining why. The other may need silence because shouting once filled every room they knew. The same pause can mean abandonment to one person and safety to the other. The first pushes for an answer, while the second feels increasingly cornered. The second withdraws, confirming the first person's deepest fear of being left. They are reacting to each other, but also to people who are no longer there. The argument appears to involve two adults, while several old shadows quietly participate. A small event can create a huge reaction when it touches an entire emotional history. And if we can freeze other people in memory, we can freeze ourselves there too. You may be older, more capable, and more independent, yet still carry an outdated identity. That identity may have formed through criticism, comparison, neglect, or repeated feelings of inadequacy. Over time, outside messages can become the private language you use to describe yourself. A child called clumsy may become competent, yet still treat every mistake as a confession. Someone once rejected may be deeply loved and still expect the door to open. Someone once controlled may live alone and still feel they need permission to choose. The environment changes, but its rules can continue operating inside the person. An adult may keep living within limits designed for a smaller, less powerful self. New roles and achievements appear, while the old shadow continues to look the same. That is why success does not always create the confidence others assume should naturally follow. If you believe you are inadequate, success becomes luck, and failure becomes evidence. Compliments pass quickly, while one criticism can remain vivid for years. The mind does not only seek truth, it also seeks familiar confirmation. A slight delay can become proof that everyone eventually leaves. One small mistake can erase dozens of things you handled well. You stop judging yourself from current evidence and obey an old verdict instead. That verdict shapes which opportunities you accept, which relationships you trust, and what treatment you tolerate. People who feel undeserving may accept less because something better feels unfamiliar. Familiar pain can feel safer than unfamiliar health because you already know its rules. Real change requires more than a new situation. It requires a more accurate description of who you are now. Updating someone does not mean pretending their past behavior never happened. The past remains important evidence, especially when safety and trust are involved. But the present deserves evidence too. What is this person repeatedly doing now? An apology alone proves little. Responsibility and consistent behavior across time matter more. If the same harm continues, distance may be a response to reality, not memory. The goal is not forced forgiveness, but a clearer separation between then and now. Updating yourself also does not mean denying the wounds that shaped you. Your younger self belongs in your story, but does not have to define every chapter. You can respect the defenses that once protected you without using them everywhere. The first step is noticing when the past has quietly entered the present and started speaking for you. One clue is an emotion far larger than the event that seems to cause it. Your body may recognize a pattern before your conscious mind understands the connection. Pausing does not invalidate the feeling. It creates space between feeling and action. Ask first, what exactly happened, without adding intention, prediction, or hidden meaning? Then ask, what meaning did I automatically attach to that action? And finally, who or what earlier moment does this feeling remind me of? The reaction may belong to the present, the past, or some mixture of both. Sometimes the person before you really is repeating the same harmful behavior. Sometimes only one detail matches, while the intention and wider pattern are completely different. Learning the difference helps you protect yourself without allowing memory to replace present reality. A person should be updated through patterns observed over time, not one dramatic moment. One kind act cannot erase history, and one mistake cannot erase genuine progress. Look for accountability, respect for boundaries, and healthier behavior when conflict becomes uncomfortable. Reliable new evidence can expand your picture without deleting its older pages. If the harm continues, the old conclusion may still accurately describe the present. Whether you reconnect or step away, the choice can become deliberate instead of automatic. Updating yourself begins by noticing absolute labels such as failure, weak, or unlovable. Then look for present evidence those labels usually refuse to include. You may once have been powerless, but now you have skills, options, and boundaries. A fuller identity can contain vulnerability without reducing you to it. The frightened child inside you used the tools available and helped you survive. But that child no longer has to make every decision for your adult life. Back at the table, the son notices his body preparing for the old argument. He separates his father's present question from the criticism echoing behind it. He studies the older man's tired hands, uncertain expression, and softened posture. He does not erase the past, but refuses to let it write the next sentence. His hand loosens. His breathing slows. And he answers what was actually asked. This is not complete forgiveness. It is simply the ability to see two different people. The mind is a museum of everyone we have loved, feared, and once been. The past deserves a place there. But the present deserves to be seen as alive, unfinished, and capable of change.